All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is John Adams speaking to you from Convey Compliance. I know you can see the name Lauren Skinner on the screen. Lauren is our marketing specialist, and she coordinated this presentation for me. Lauren will not be speaking today, and I will. Today's presentation is entitled Moving to the Cloud. If that's not a term you're familiar with, more and more, that's the common term to refer to working in the internet space. So today what we're talking about is how folks who are currently using 1099 Convey or one of the Manchester solutions could consider switching from an installed software solution to a SaaS or software as a service solution. And the idea today is to inform and educate you about options that are available to you. So let's begin. I already covered about why we're here today, but in today's agenda we're going to talk about what the available options are for you. What is the value of software as a service, and why is this something that you should even be thinking about? Where there are differences in the various solutions that we offer to you, how they work. And then finally, if you're interested or have more questions or would like to learn more, who you should contact. I also want to mention at this time that we will have room at the end of today's webinar for questions, and I'll answer as many of them as I can. There is a chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. If you think of a question while we're going along here, please just type it in the chat box and hit send, and then I'll review those at the end. Other people will not be able to see your questions. Only I will be able to see them. So if you're concerned at all about privacy, it should be just for me to see. And we will go from there. I also want to mention that you will get a copy of today's presentation for future reference. And so those are usually some of the most common questions that we get right off the bat. So I want to make sure you knew that. In addition, I'm actually speaking to you today live from Austin, Texas at the Austin Convention Center, currently attending a conference where we're doing a lot about what I'm doing with you today, only with a much larger audience. So should you hear any sounds in the background, that's what it is. I'm not actually sitting at my desk like I normally would be. All right, so why are we here today, and why have you chosen to dial in to this webinar? Well, we want to talk to you about a new way to think about your 1099 reporting solution. For some of you, our products called Taxport and Taxport AP could be a better alternative for 1099 Convey or for Manchester. And the purpose of this webinar is to explain these differences to you and make sure that you're aware that these options are available to you. We have two different solutions that are designed to meet a range of needs that you have. And I just want to go through a couple of bullet points here, and we'll revisit this throughout the webinar. But just to start out with, if any of these things are true about you, if you work in financial services or banking or insurance or healthcare, and you deal with a lot of different form types, not just 1099 miscellaneous, 5498, W-2, et cetera, et cetera. If you have large form volume and you require a solution that is very configurable, I want you at the end of today's solution to be thinking about Taxport as an alternative to what you're using today. If those things are not true for you, but if any of these are true for you, if you work in an accounts payable department, your form volume is relatively smaller. You're primarily working with Form 1099 miscellaneous, and you're looking for a solution that has everything you need, but no features that you don't need. In other words, I only need tools and solutions that I use, and I don't want a bunch of other stuff that I have to choose to ignore. If you're looking for something like that that is a standard offering designed for your basic reporting needs, at the end of today's webinar, I want you to think about considering Taxport AP. The AP stands for Accounts Payable, as a possible option for you. Okay, continuing with that theme, who is Taxport for? Taxport is one of our two software as a service solutions. When I'm talking about software as a service, I'll expand on that concept in a little bit. But Taxport is designed to accommodate a wide range of reporting needs. It includes all the 1099 form types. It includes the different W-2 forms. It has 5498 support, as well as support for Canadian and Puerto Rico tax reporting. It tends to be favored by folks who work year-round in tax and compliance departments. If you have more of a complex org structure and need additional levels of configurability or even custom configurability for the solution, these are features that Taxport supports. Both Taxport and Taxport AP are a SaaS delivery model. If you need custom forms, Taxport can support that. Custom printing, the same thing. And Taxport really is, at the end of the day, designed to be implemented for clients who have unique implementation requirements. On the other hand, who is Taxport AP for? Taxport AP has been designed specifically for accounts payable departments. And this is across industries, so it's not just for this industry or that industry. If you work in accounts payable and your primary focus is on Form 1099, and for you, this is essentially a once-a-year event that is more or less an administrative task, meaning it's something that you have to get done, but it's not the core focus of your role at your organization. This is also a software as a service delivery model, and it has simple, easy to understand screens. It's designed to mitigate risk for your organization, and everything that you need is included. So software as a service. Let's talk a moment about that. Software as a service, or SaaS, which is the acronym, is simply a kind of a different way of talking about how an application can be delivered to you via the web or via the internet. And even if that doesn't sound familiar to you, I'm willing to bet that you've probably used solutions like this already. You just didn't recognize it or think of it in this way. Things like Google, Facebook, or even Salesforce, if you interact with that in your office. These are all examples of software as a service. If you think about any one of these, you didn't get a disk and install it on your local computer, or your IT department didn't have to install Google or install Facebook. As we all know, you just go to the internet and you type in www.facebook.com, and there it is for you to use. Well, that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about software as a service. Taxport and Taxport AP are software as a service design solutions. So what does that mean? Well, it means several things. It means that there's no loading of disks. There's no software that needs to be installed for either of these solutions, which means no IT support is required. We often hear from folks that that is sometimes challenging because you're dependent on the IT department. And my goal here today is not to talk badly about IT departments. They're terrifically skilled people, but they tend to be very, very busy. And if you need your updates installed, that may not be on the top of their priority list. So it's important for you to understand that in a software as a service model, IT support is not required. It also lowers your risk. Now, how can it do that? Well, the thing is, with installed software, you're dependent on receiving timely compliance updates from Convey. Those have to be loaded. So there is a risk that there are windows of time when you could be working with an outdated version of the software. Another way to look at this is it doesn't have the most complete and up-to-date regulatory changes on the version that you're currently working on with 1099 Convey or with Manchester. In a software as a service model, you're always compliant because every time you log in, you're working with the most current version of that application that's available. And maybe, just maybe, that could result in fewer B notices. So what's different here at a very high level? At a very high level, and you'll be able to see this if you decide to take a further look and preview Taxport or Taxport AP, the first thing you'll notice is there's an improved user experience. And I really mean that. You guys probably know from 1099 Convey or Manchester, it can be a little complicated to figure out what to do on a particular screen or how to go from step 1 to step 2. Although they work very well and are excellent at helping you get your work done, it's not as though you can sit it down in front of someone who's never used it before and they can immediately figure out how to use that. You'll see as we move along into these slides some examples of what Taxport and Taxport AP look like and have a better understanding what I mean about an improved user experience. For both of these solutions, Taxport and Taxport AP, real-time TIN verification is built right into the solution. If you're not familiar with this concept, or maybe you're not taking advantage of it today, I'm talking about being able to type a tax ID number and a name onto a screen and in real time verifying with the IRS that the information you have typed is a match with the IRS records, or if it's not a match with IRS records, and then you know what action to take to correct that. That's included in both Taxport and Taxport AP. Also, 1099 Convey and Manchester include a lot of features. They're very robust solutions, but they may have features and functionality in there that you simply don't use. You don't need it, and so really, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't miss it, and the fact that it is there could potentially be a distraction, or minimally, it's just something that you don't need and you don't want to use. In Taxport AP, as an example, there are no Canada and Puerto Rico form support. We don't have additional forms that you don't need, like 5498 and others. If audit trail isn't an important thing for you, maybe Taxport AP is a good solution for you because these are things that you're just not concerned with. So what we're trying to say is sometimes it's helpful to think about a solution that doesn't have any stuff that you don't want to use. Take you through a couple different scenarios that might be specific for you. I don't know what everybody on the call is using today, so we'll talk about each one. If anybody on today's call is a Manchester Pro user, and if you need configurable security settings, and you use a lot of 1099 form types, as well as maybe 1098 or 5498 or W2 or W2G, and you require full audit trail tracking, then I want you to consider Taxport as a possible option. But if you only need primarily 1099 miscellaneous, and you're just simply looking for a single source to print and mail your forms that includes electronic transmittal, you should think about considering Taxport AP. Now, if you're a Manchester Prime user and you need many of the different forms 1099 and also 1042S, and you also need configurable security settings, audit trail tracking, and if you need configurable data consolidation, you should consider Taxport, because Taxport has all of those features for you. On the other hand, if you only need a few of the Form 1099 types, and you also need 1042S, with TIN matching, W9, and B-Notice support, then you might want to consider Taxport AP because it contains all of those features, and it doesn't have some of the other things that maybe aren't relevant for an organization like yours. Finally, if you use 1099 Convey today, you really should consider moving to Taxport AP. As we talked about earlier, no IT support. Every time you log in, you're working with a compliant solution. Taxport AP has all the same features as 1099 Convey, except that you don't have to deal with IT support and installing updates. It only requires an internet connection for you to be able to use it. Just want to go through a quick feature comparison. And again, you're going to get these slides. So you don't have to worry about writing this stuff down or memorizing it. But I think it is helpful to understand as you go through here to see if there are things that are true for who you are or what type of organization you represent. You get an idea as you can mentally check these things off to help you understand which solution might be right for you. Between Taxport AP and Taxport, the different industries that we serve. On the Taxport side, it's primarily banking, insurance, and financial services. That's what it's designed for. They have high form volumes, like we see in the next column. On the Taxport AP side, it's accounts payable, and that can be in manufacturing or retail or hospitality, transportation. I can go on and on, because again, Taxport AP is not specific to certain vertical markets. From a form volume perspective, generally if your form volume is smaller, in that 100 to low few thousand range, Taxport AP might be the right solution for you. If your form volume is considerably higher, 20, 30,000 or more forms, Taxport is probably going to be a better solution for you. If you have a simple process that you follow once a year, or alternatively, if your processes are relatively complex and you have a lot of form types and you have multiple source systems and you require not only federal but also state filing, think about Taxport as a solution for that. If your process is relatively simple, Taxport AP could be the right way to go. As I've mentioned earlier, both of them are software as a service or web-based delivery models. So that part is the same for both. You simply need internet access in order to be able to take advantage of either of these applications. In the Taxport AP world, the typical recipient of these forms are vendors, contractors, and service providers. On the Taxport side, it's primarily going to be customers. These are account holders, as an example, and vendors. For Taxport AP, the common form types that are supported, 1099 miscellaneous, div, int, those are the top three that are used by our current Taxport AP customers. But we also include 39, 21, and 22, 1042S, but the list is shorter. On the Taxport side, you name it, it's in there. All forms 1099 and 1098, the W-2s, 5498, as well as Canadian and Puerto Rico forms. Both solutions include B-Notice and TIN matching support, so they're even there. W-9 solicitation is, again, included in both of these solutions. Everybody always wants to know about reporting. Taxport is highly customizable, highly configurable. If you need a certain kind of report, you can create it in Taxport. Taxport AP is a little more scaled down. You get full access to your data with an option to download into Excel, but that's more for you to use and configure how you like. The next 4 rows are pretty straightforward. If you're looking for direct state reporting or Canada or Puerto Rico or independent contractor, that's not in Taxport AP, but it is in Taxport. Audit trail. For some of you, this is very, very important, and if that's the case, Taxport is the way to go. If it's not that much of a concern, Taxport AP. It's not built in. It is available. It's always stored by us, but it's not part of the solution. Both Taxport and Taxport AP support data validation to make sure that the data that you're storing and entering meets the compliance guidelines. And both solutions have prior year support. Taxport AP features and benefits. This is a little bit repetitive, and again, you're going to get these slides, so I'm not going to read all of this to you, but each of these features is addressed along with sort of a what does it mean for you in the benefits column. Real-time TIN verification as an example. You can use it to make sure that the data that you have is accurate, or if you determine that it's not, you can take corrective action. I'm not going to read all of these to you. I know you'll take advantage of that after you get the slides, but there's a lot of information here for you to think about. Alternatively, Taxport features and benefits. On the right or on the left-hand column, each of the features are listed, and on the right-hand column, it just explains a little bit about the benefit of each of those. As an example, robust security, second row from the bottom. What's so great about that? Well, you can control access to the application and to your data by the role function for user. That's very specific for some customers. You need people that can only have limited access to certain features, and if that's the case, Taxport supports that. Just a little bit about how Taxport AP works. This is a newer solution that was rolled out last year. Just some quick information about the common tasks and general layout of the solution so you understand. In Taxport AP, there's a simple tab design. Each tab has a specific function, as you can see here. TIN matching is built in for real-time TIN verification. Import features are smart import feature for intuitive form mapping, and I'll show you another screen in a moment that gives you a better idea of what that's like. Lookups and corrections are very, very easy on the Returns tab. When it comes to printing and mailing, you can filter by payer, by federal limits, and by form type. You have that flexibility in Taxport AP to choose what you want to print and mail and when. The same is true for transmit. You can filter by payer, filter by federal limits, and filter by form type. This is electronic transmittal. It's built in. You don't have to go through the process of signing up for IRS e-services. Many of you have explored that in the past. You know that a lot of people don't like to go through it because it asks for some very specific personal information, and not everyone is comfortable sharing that. Finally, the Tools tab allows you to manage your users and your files and to access the reporting tool. Real-time TIN verification looks like this. You can see in the bottom left of the screen individual TIN lookup. Type in a name, type in a TIN, and click on the TIN matching button, and you'll know instantly whether the information that you entered matches or does not match IRS records. It's right there. There's no limit. You can use it as often as you like. Drag and drop import mapping in Taxport AP. You see the form on the top of the screen, you see your data on the bottom, and you simply drag and drop the information from the column to the box up above. You don't do it 10,000 times if your spreadsheet has 10,000 rows in it. You do it once for each column, and it maps the data to the form. It's very simple, very easy to understand. You know right away whether you did it correctly or not. Return form lookup is as simple as typing in numbers or letters in the search bar across the top. It works like Google search. As you type, it starts locating records that match what you're typing, and it brings back those records. You simply select that and drill down. Print and transmit. This is the print tab. You select what you want to print. That print button on the right-hand side, that's Convey printing and mailing your forms for you. It's built into the solution. You don't have to deal with loading forms into your printer, printing, folding, inserting, applying postage, all of that. Print means Convey does it all for you. It's built into the solution. Finally, I want to leave you with, if anything here is sounding interesting to you and you're thinking it might make sense to minimally learn more, or you'd like to inquire about switching over from 1099 Convey or Manchester to either one of our software as a service solutions, Taxport or Taxport AP, step one is for you to pick up the phone and call your account manager. They would be happy to discuss what the options are. I know we went through quite a bit of detail today, but this is just designed to be a short introductory call for you to introduce you to the idea of using something that is web-based instead of installed software. So I encourage you, if nothing else, give your account manager a call. If you don't know who they are, that's okay. Call the number that you see here on the screen, ask to speak to your account manager, and the person who answers the phone will look up who that is for you and put you in touch with that person. And now, over the next few minutes, I just want to make some time available to you in case you have any questions. Remember, you can just type them in the chat box, and I will address as many of them as I can. I see that we've already got a few queued up here. So let's see. All right. Oh, okay. Some of you may have joined a little bit late. Sorry if there was background noise. I'm actually at a conference, and there's a lot of folks here. Apologize for that, and I hope that you could hear me as I was speaking. There are quite a few people around me during this presentation. Let's see. Is Form W-2 included in Taxport AP? No, it's not. Form W-2 is not one of the supported forms. Taxport AP primarily supports the most common 1099 forms as well as 1042S. But if you need other form types beyond that, Taxport is going to be the way to go. It also does not specifically include W-2G, just to be very clear. Neither W-2 nor W-2G are included in Taxport AP. As I mentioned earlier, you will receive copies of these slides, so just want to make sure everyone understands that. They'll be emailed to you. The costs of both products are dependent on your form volume, and so that'll be something that you need to speak to your account manager about. They can take you through that exercise to understand which category of form volume you fall into, as well as which solution is going to make the most sense for your organization and your needs. Okay, the question about audit trail. What I meant to communicate here is that audit trail is actually a hands-on feature within Taxport that you can access yourself. You can access audit trail information. It's always tracked in Taxport AP, but it's in the background, and because this is a less common requirement for Taxport AP customers, if it does come up, we can provide the information to you. Our customer support folks have access to that data and can make it available to you, but it's not part of the user interface, and that's what I was trying to communicate there about audit trail. It's not that we don't pay any attention or track the information. It's just simply a question of whether you can see it and access it from within the application. Really good question, though. With Taxport AP, do the option of printing the forms yourself. You always have the option of printing individual forms, so if you need to print a copy to deliver to someone who's come into your office and is asking for a hard copy, or if you need to produce a hard copy for your internal files. But one of the key features of Taxport AP is that printing and mailing is built in as part of the service where Convey does the printing and mailing for you. So that part is a major feature of Taxport AP, is that you do not do the primary printing and mailing of the forms. Let's see what else we have here. Again, the question about how does pricing compare to 1099 Convey? I encourage you to call and speak to your account manager, because the pricing is going to be based on the types of features that you need and your form volume, and so I'm not able to give a specific quote on this call because it's going to be unique to your specific need. Okay, can Taxport interface with internal systems on a real-time basis? Yeah, Taxport can be set up to be configured with regular data loads. That's part of the onboarding process if that's something that is necessary within your organization. That is something that Taxport can support. Taxport AP does not have that capability. That would be more of a manual process. Let's see what else we have here. These are really great questions, guys. And if I don't get to all of these by the time we wrap up, please call your account manager and have a discussion with them. Okay. Here's a scenario. We're a small organization, and we mail out Form 1098-C. We have roughly 1,000 forms. In this instance, Taxport would be the recommended solution because that form type is not supported in Taxport AP.
Hi, Bonnie.
Okay. Will Convey 1099 still be available? Yeah. The solution, 1099 Convey and the Manchester products will remain available to you. The purpose of today's call is primarily to educate and inform you about Taxport and Taxport AP, because we see value in you switching over those solutions, value to you for the reasons that I've outlined in my presentation. But these solutions will continue to be available.
I think we all woke up and said, I don't want to be a
Taxport, is Taxport a new version of 1099 Convey? In a way, yes. They're not identical, but it is sort of the next evolution. In general, technology is moving from an installed software model to the software service as a service model because of the reasons that I outlined earlier. Updates are faster made available to end users and customers because it is delivered via the web versus mailing out discs. So that's just the trend, and we want everybody to understand what we're making available to our customers as we move to the web and to the cloud, if you will. Okay, question, is Taxport compliant with Puerto Rico withholding requirements? Taxport is. Taxport AP does not support reporting or withholding for Puerto Rico. Actually, Taxport AP all by itself does not support withholding. You can track it in Taxport AP, but if you need a solution that actually manages that for you, you're going to need to think about Taxport. How long will 1099 information be available? I'm assuming that means when you've loaded your data into the solution, how long is it available? It's available to you for as long as you remain a customer, and any data that you load is always available to you to download and keep a file for your archives as well. But within the application, we store at least 3 years worth of history and then ongoing from there. We've gone a few minutes over. This is scheduled for 30 minutes. I want to thank you all for your attendance today and for your really, really great questions. And the one thing that I really want to remind you and encourage you to do after you get off this call is please make some time to call your account manager and ask additional questions, learn more about the benefits of switching from your installed software solution to one of our software as a service solutions. Again, my name is John Adams. I'm a product manager with Convey. Thanks again for your time today, and we hope to hear from you. Bye-bye.